welcome to another episode of Pennies with a Purpose. I am your host, Willie Mullins, and today we're going to talk about fun stuff. So let me start first with today's topic. Today's topic is find your number. And when I say find your number, specifically I'm talking about when shopping for gifts for certain type of events. So I'm going to cheat today. I have a list because I have several numbers and I'm going to go through quite quickly on them. And I just want to know if you kind of agree, disagree. Do you think they should be lower? Do you think they should be higher? But this is important when it comes to your budget and making sure that your budget stays aligned. So let's get started. Number one, and I got to wear my glasses this week so I can read my notes. So number one, we're going to talk about birthday gifts. How much should you spend on birthday gifts? So the note says for sisters, brothers, and cousins, you should spend an upwards of $25. So for your brothers, sisters, and cousins, you should spend around $25. For grandchildren, nieces, and nephews that are 13 and under, you should spend anywhere between $25 and $50. I'm sure I'm going to have some grandparents that disagree with those numbers. And then for grandchildren, nieces, and nephew, age 14 and up, from $50 to $75 should be put on the budget for those. And for sons and daughters, and this is what me and Manisa talk about all the time, we do go over on our grandkids. But for our sons and daughters, the number is between $50 and $100. And we actually do $50 per child for our kids. So we're right at the bottom side of the budget right now. But we're there because we're paying off debt. So that's kind of why we're on the low side. Once we get our debt paid off, they're going to get a little bit more, but don't tell them. Now let's go on to the next day. And as we just went through this day, this is Valentine's Day. How much should you spend on Valentine's Day? So I didn't get a specific number, so let's say it says the median amount men and women plan to spend on Valentine's Day was $50. But on average, the men spend about 20% more on the women. Great job, men. And that's typical because, you want to treat your wife or your loved one with care by sharing roses. And roses alone, especially around Valentine's Day, can range up from $50 to $100 or more, depending on what you do. And then you typically do a night out. So that's probably a good price, a starting range for that. Let's go to the big day that happens in May, and that's coming up in a couple months. Mother's Day. How much should you spend off your budget for Mother's Day? So what I have here, the average consumer spends about $60 on their mothers. So around $65, $66 were spent on wives or partners, and about $55 were spent on like your mother-in-law. I forgot what our range is for my mother-in-law or what Manisa spends with my mom. But we kind of typically stay around that. We might be a little higher on Mother's Day because I love giving gifts, so I kind of tend to go overboard. So let's go to the big one, Christmas. I have a lot of notes about Christmas, so let's see. Moms and dads spend an average of $422 per kid. That's a lot of money, especially if you're paying off debt. We are way below that number. But this is for the kids that average between 8 and 14. So we are below that number, and plus Manisa and I co-parent. So if we had to spend that much on our younger child, Trinity, we probably kind of would split that. But I don't think we typically go over that number. We kind of hang around in there somewhere. On grown kids that are over 18, we generally, this is the notes because Manisa and I don't do it. I guess maybe we get close. We generally spend about $150 on each couple. And this is looking at maybe a child that was married, so maybe 75 cents on the husband, on your son or daughter, and $75 and on the son or daughter, and then 75 on the wife. So that's kind of where we actually went up to $75 per child for the adult child this Christmas. So we're kind of hitting that right on the head. For let's see, for Christmas, for good friends, experts say you should spend between $15 and $25 for Christmas on good friends, but reduce that amount if you plan to spend on multiple friends. So you want to take it down if you got a lot of friends. So let's look at some of the numbers I got for kids budget. Again, the first one said $422 for a kid, but I know definitely being on a budget. Now some people may afford it, and then again, remember Manise and I started in the beginning of the year by saying, if you're going to spend a large amount, just set that amount at the beginning of the year and figure out how much you need to take out of your budget each month to take care of that amount. So not to say that you can't. We never will say that you can't. We just show you what your options are. So just have a plan. So I found another article that said, and these are just simple recommendations. From 0 to 4, $50 per child. From 5 to 10, $75 to $100 per child. From 10 to 15, $100 to $150 per child. And 16 to 18 and up, $150 to $250 per child. So I don't know, when they get to that 16 and 18 and up, that's kind of high for me. But especially over 18, like I said, the first one I read said about $75 per child. I found a family Christmas budget. Let's see. For grandparents, how much should you spend? Well, for grandparents, $35 to $50 each. For parents, how much should you spend? For parents, $50 each. I don't know. If I'm the parent, I might want you to spend more, but that's just a little joke, because no, I really like giving more. Extended family adults, $25 to $30. Extended family kids, $15 to $20. I definitely do not agree with that one. Unless it's talking about maybe, well, if it's talking about my sister's kids, yeah. But I don't know. We're a blended family, so I didn't know if it meant blended or extended. So I'm gonna take extended as maybe my sister's kids or my brother's kids, something like that. Because the blended family, for me, everybody's equal. Everybody gets the same. For friends, $5 to $10 for a gift from the family. And for your neighbors, $1 to $2. Because at Christmas time, you can find these little trinkets that you can give out for friends. So, and they're usually not much. They'll have their little perfume pack or something you can always give. So let's move on to the next category. The next category is dating, and thank the Lord I'm not in this category. But what it states is try budgeting for 2 to 4 dates a month. Man, that's a lot. But the number is $50 to $100 a date. And I'll tell you, that is probably right on par, because movies are expensive. Manise and I usually catch at least one movie a month, sometimes two. And we just do the matinee when it's like $5 or $6, because it is crazy. By the time we buy the popcorn, the drinks, and get in to see the movie, we're probably around 50, 60 bucks almost. So dating is rough. And for you singles out there, good luck, make a lot of money, and be prepared to spend $50 to $100 a date. Weddings. Let's think about weddings gifts. So there's a price range I have on wedding gifts. For distant relatives or co-workers, you should give $75 to $100 per gift. For friends or relatives, $100 to $125. For closer relatives, probably $150, like your sisters, your brothers, maybe somebody you really, like a cousin that you really grew up in. Because I know some of my cousins, we were really close. So when they get married, I would definitely, if they were to get married, now all of my family's older, so they're married. But, your childhood friends, you probably want to give them a lot more than what is suggested here. And if you're wealthy, expect to inflate that gift, inflate those numbers. So we're not there yet, but we're on our way. So we will be able at someday to give people inflated. It's just going to be it's a goal of ours just to bless people anyway. And last but not least, I have like baby showers, wedding showers. For friends and relatives, spend about $30 to $15. Of course, for your daughter or somebody, your sister, you're going to spend a little higher than that, around probably 50 to 75 to $100 on that. So those are items that you need to consider throughout your year. Actually, a lot of these occasions you know about before the year starts, so you can go ahead and prepare. Let me take these glasses off because I'm done reading. You can go ahead and prepare for these things before the year's out and put them in your budget. Next week, we'll talk about celebration, just different types of celebration. And then after that, we're going to move in, since we're ending the first quarter, we'll probably move into actually breaking down some budgets and making some recommendations or suggestions on budgets. So if you want to write in, send us your budget, or the amount you make and the budget. We can break that down on some of the videos, and we won't use your name or whatever, but we could definitely break it down to give people some ideas of how to break down a budget and some things they should consider. We'd be glad to do it. So that's it for today. Think about what you want to spend on these gifts. And like I said, you can pretty much prepare for that at the beginning of the year. And we'll talk about how that should work in the budget when we start breaking it down. So remember, if you want to talk to us you want to email us, you can email us at pennieswithapurpose@gmail.com. You can hit our website at www.pennieswithapurpose.com. And remember, on our sites on Facebook and YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. And as always in leaving, if you don't tell your money where to go, you will always wonder where it went. Thank you and have a great day. And we'll see you next week.